Well, hello you bearded bastards, and welcome back once again to Stetargusgash, Honeystoker, a fortress on the brink of all-out war with the goblins. That's right, it has been decided that the only path forward can be through war. Very exciting. And it's about damn time, I gotta say. Now if you have a look down here, you can see the dwarves scurrying about, grabbing armor and weapons, preparing themselves for the fight to come. That's right, dwarves, get yourselves ready, because if we're going to do this, then we do it together. Now then, before we get too excited here, there are some things we have to go over first, and so let's get to it. Having a look here, the population of the fortress is currently 142 dwarves. Not a terrible number. And of these dwarves, there are 2 unaging vampire children, 10 merchants who refuse to do any work whatsoever, and this number does include our mayor. There are 9 crazed dwarves, who are now completely irreversibly insane, and besides those 9, there are also 4 berserk dwarves as well, all locked up safely. There are also 3 broken dwarves, those dwarves who are damaged to the point where they can do no fighting whatsoever. And now moving on to our fighting dwarves, we have 10 fortress guards, who are the Boarbloods, and I do intend on keeping them here at the fortress from this point forward. And besides the Boarbloods, we also have 11 squads, each with 10 dwarves, giving us a total of 120 dwarves to use for fighting. Now granted, a lot of these dwarves do not have any fighting skill whatsoever, and some of them don't even have gear yet, but I've got myself a little plan. But before we get to that, let's go over these dwarves just real quick. Now then, we have the Boarbloods, who are the fortress guard, 10 dwarves led by Bemble, the Lord Protector, and their ranks also include Id Uristvatsith, the greatest fighter in the fortress, as well as his son, Obak, and we also have Moldy in this squad as well. Next up we have the Helmed Autumns, which started off kind of as a throwaway squad, but they have really proven themselves. They're led by Saxel, who has become the most skilled tactician in all of the fortress, and as such she has been awarded with a helmet, Idenrafat. It was one that we had made a while back. I figured she deserved the thing. She's going to be the one who leads the dwarves out on raids. This is our main attack force right here, the Helmed Autumns. Now the rest of these squads are not really fighting dwarves. Some of them have skill, but not many of them. First off, we have Lorbam's Sappers. These are the fort's miners. They're all equipped with picks and are led by Lorbam, a miner who's been around for quite some time. Next up, the Red Anvils, led by Aral, the fortress's premier armorer. These dwarves are all smiths, and in this squad we also have Kol Ukrkal, the dwarf who created Odamthil Seg, our steel battle axe artifact, which he is equipped with. I figured that'd be the right thing to do. Also in this squad we have Beans. He didn't really want to join the army, but we all have to play our part. And also in this squad we have Atir, our Baroness. We all have to play our part. She's not the biggest fan of war, but it is through this war that we will find peace, and so it's justifiable at least. Next up we have the Feasting Ones, led by Imush Oilsplash, our fortress's cook, and who is also an adept mace dwarf. These dwarves here are all cooks or brewers, that sort of stuff. We have the Woods Dwarves, equipped with battle axes, the fortress's carpenters and woodcutters. We have the Jade Moons, just kind of an irregular assortment of dwarves led by Locum, who happens to be a big fan of Jade. Next up we have the Clockwork Guard, the fortress's engineers and mechanics. Next up we have the Bloodletters, led by Such Valorbam, our chief medical dwarf. And also in this squad is Udil, her little sister, a jeweler, daughters of Kol Ukrkal. Oh, and also Moldy is their brother. Next up we have the Discs of Gashing, a random assortment of dwarves led by another Bemble. They're a big fan of serrated discs. Oh, and also in this squad is Anvil, the fortress hero. He had no interest in leading it. Next up, the Swine Lords, led by Ingish, who's a big fan of giant wild boars. And then last up we have the Lizard Stompers, led by Einod, who hates lizards. And that'll about do it, 120 fighting dwarves. Pretty remarkable, right? Now then, a couple other things of note. I'm really trying to keep upset dwarves under control as best as possible. And so there's been a whole bunch of finicky stuff behind the scenes even now. Like since we started the episode, Obak, Id's son, has been sent down here to the asylum. He started throwing tantrums and we can't have that. So, here he is. And there's even been a couple other dwarves thrown in here as well, since the beginning of the episode. I just don't want any trouble. This is going to be a bit of a dicey time. Other things to note here, the way down to the third cavern layer where most of the forgotten beasts have been coming from, we locked that up. We cannot go down there anymore and nothing can come up either. We already had to deal with a ton of forgotten beasts recently. And we need some time to kind of just relax, settle down a little bit, you know? And the same goes for the way up as well. The first cavern layer is all locked up, leaving us with only the quartzite layer, which is completely sealed up from the outside. So we shouldn't have any more forgotten beasts pop up anytime soon. Kind of a shame, but it'll help us focus. Now then, we can get down to work. Now optimally, before we send the dwarves out, I would love to have them train for a little bit, so they can get some skill with their weapons. But it would take a while, a long while, and you know, I think I've got a better idea. Bear with me here. I don't think it's as stupid as it sounds. Okay, here we go. Just over here to the west, there's the goblin hillocks of wave raisers. You may remember that it's one of the first places that the helmed autumns attacked during our last series of raids. Now, they were spotted here. They were not able to sneakily escape and we didn't get much from the place. And in fact, we even lost a dwarf. But all things considered, there are only 20 goblins here, but also keeping in mind that there could be hidden trolls or beak dogs here as well. I don't recall seeing any of them in the combat report. And so I think what we have here is just 20 goblins. And so I'm thinking we should head out and try to attack this place. Foolish? Possibly. But if we are successful, then we'll have gotten a little skill for our dwarves very quickly. And possibly some loot as well. Nothing wrong with that. And so let's do it. We're going to raid wave raisers. And what the hell, let's just try to raise the place to the ground. See if that works. And we'll keep all other options on the table as well. And as for our squads, we're going to assign everyone except for the Boarbloods. 110 dwarves, all led by Saxel of the Helmed Autumns. Yeah, I actually think this is going to go pretty alright. I know a lot of these dwarves don't have a ton of skill whatsoever, but I'm really hoping to just steamroll the goblins there. Oh man, this is pretty awesome, huh? Look at all these dwarves. Vampires, excuse me. Nazusheb, excuse me. Yes, Nazusheb, you can smell it on the wind. It's the dawning of a new age. Try not to get too cocky here, but this, you know, I just got a good feeling about it, I guess. That's kind of strange. This group of dwarves is going out here to the east, and these guys over here seem to be going to the north. Huh. And it's especially strange considering the place is over to our west. Well, hoping you guys find your way there. Good luck. Just got a few dwarves left now. Go ahead, make your way out. Yeah, now that they're gone, we just have to wait. Shouldn't take too long, I don't think. It's not very far away. I mean, you gotta think. The dwarves have no need for food or drinks, really. Drinking increases their mood a bit, sure, and we have plenty of drinks already. So if we just keep sending the dwarves out, I can't see that having a very negative effect. Unless we lose a lot of dwarves, of course. But I guess if that doesn't happen, we can just keep sending the dwarves out as much as we want. There's no need to rest for the undead. If this raid ends up working out, we can start thinking about turning our vampires into sort of a machine. Just constantly raiding. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves though. There is a lot hinging on the success of this raid. Well, and there we are. The Helmed Autumns and others have returned. Here they are coming in from the north, and it looks like they're bringing with them some spoils too. That's gotta be good news, right? Let's have a look at that report. Mission report, Raise Wave Raisers, Spring 303. Alright, they head out to Wave Raisers, and it looks like the dwarves were outmatched by the goblins. We lost 2 dwarves. Another dwarf was wounded. Whole bunch of fighting here. Oh, then it looks like the battle turned around. Saxel was able to outwit the goblins. And then the goblins started going down. Ooh, very good. Alright, the teal entries there are goblins dying. Ooh, very good. Taking it from the top here. Yeah, it looks like the battle started out with Saxel being outmatched by the goblin Tunal Static Dimples, which is what happened last time we went here. And because of that, we lost 2 dwarves fairly early on. And another dwarf's lip was torn out. Not great. Also, I will mention too that you'll see squad names like the Fresh Racks or the Bolts of Depth here, and that's because there's currently a little bug in the game that displays squads names as the ones they originally had when you first made them. Just a heads up on that. Anyways, continuing a whole bunch more combat here. Nothing great for us. But then here it says the dwarf vampire Saxel Granite Brands entirely outwitted the goblin Tunnel Static Dimples, and the attackers had a strong positional advantage in Wave Raisers. Excellent. I don't know what caused that. I don't think I've seen a battle turn around like that before. But here we are. Yeah, we killed a goblin. They did have some trolls here that we killed. And a few more goblins were killed as well, including Tunnel Static Dimples, the leader of the goblins here. Fantastic. And the battle concluded with us looting the place, and then rampaging through Wave Razors, which caused the remaining goblins to flee, and then we destroyed Wave Razors. Fantastic. Well, then we gotta check that spoils report too, see if we got anything good. Whoa, yikes. Whole bunch of stuff. And nothing terribly exciting either. Assorted armor, clothing, some other tools. Oh well, I'll take it. Well, dwarves, you did an excellent job. That was fantastic right there. Head on down to the meeting hall and get our spoils in order, and then we'll think about heading out once more. Exhilarating. Alright, down here in the fortress once more, and it looks like the dwarves are pretty much all back in order, and I would like to think at this point there's kind of a festive atmosphere, even though it is winter and the autumn festival is far behind us at this point. Looking down in the meeting hall, you can see some dwarves dancing. Very good to see, of course. And if we have a look up this way, you can see some of the dwarves are busy digging out a new tunnel, because I thought it'd be pretty cool to have an entrance to the fortress that leads straight to the meeting hall. That way when we send the dwarves out, they can pretty much head straight out immediately. That might speed things up a bit. Also, don't worry because we're going to get it fully secured too with a nice bridge. No worries. It'll be absolutely fine. Oh, would you look at this? We have some new migrants here at the fortress. Fantastic, just in time. We'll get these dwarves turned into vampires ASAP, and then maybe we can make a new squad as well. That'll be exciting, huh? Or possibly we could keep them on reserve too. We'll see. Hey, looks like we already have some of these new guys turning into vampires. Fantastic. We'll use them to replace the dwarves we lost, and a couple of the new crazed dwarves down in the asylum, which we are rapidly expanding, by the way. Not that we have any more tantrumy dwarves than usual, it's just that ones that we do have are now equipped with weapons and armor, making them that much more dangerous. And so I want to be 100% sure we have enough space for all of them, just for safety's sake, you know? Yeah, really, I'm starting to feel very positive about this whole raiding thing. Not that we've delved too far into it, but we're off to a good start and couldn't ask for more than that, really. Just excellent. And at this point I'm thinking, well, things were going smoothly. But once again, the forces of the tormentive witches have made their way through the swamps to our front gate. Oh, but this is interesting. Well, having a look here over to the west where they showed up, you can see we have a troop of elves. Exceedingly rare people. Their civilization was destroyed long ago by both Athaka and Jalassum, the Titan. But it does seem a bloodline of elves still remains in servitude to the goblins. Very interesting. Well, how about we make the elves of the Eternal Realms be just a bit more rare? Alright, here they come. They are moving in a whole bunch of spear elves, mace elves, hammer elves. Ooh yeah, a whole bunch of them. Well, you know, the first instinct is to go out and attack them, but I'm not gonna do that. Let's take it easy, dwarves. We're gonna head down to the Autumn Festival Burrow. Nice and safe inside. And we'll let the Trap Hall deal with these bastards. We have to keep our forces at maximum strength. There we go, dwarves. Get to safety. Alright, I think we are good on the surface. And I will note too that our back entrance is not yet carved out, so there is no risk of them sneaking in. Now down here in the entryway we were doing a little bit of work, and so this gate up here is not currently attached to a lever. But we are trying to get this wall in place here, so it shouldn't be a problem, I don't think. I certainly hope anyways. Okay, there we go. The wall is up, and the dwarves are making their way to the fortress. Although, oh geez, this poor melancholic dwarf here is not going to make it, I don't think. They're just depressed, sitting in the corner, and the elves are right behind her. Oh, here they come. But they seem to be ignoring her. Okay, well, that works. Anyways, down here to our spike hall. We have not seen this thing in action for quite some time, and so this is going to be a bit refreshing, I think. Well, there we go, it's stabbing already. Fantastic. We have a couple of injured elves, a dead elf, and a couple of the other cowards actually ran away. Couldn't say I blame them. I am not sure what's going on with this melancholic dwarf. It looks like all the elves kind of grouped up around it and are kind of following her into the spike hall. Is this gonna work out for us? This might work out pretty well, actually. Not so well for the melancholic dwarf. Rakust is her name. But if the elves keep grouping up like this, then, well, let's just watch. Alright, there are more and more of them getting crammed in this hallway, just waiting for the pressure plate to reset. Oh, and there we go. Oh man, that was great. We have several more dead elves, and a bunch of severely wounded ones too. Ooh, yeah, that was good. Oh, and there it goes again. Jeez, these guys do not stand a chance. And the best thing so far is that Ratcuss down here is doing absolutely fine. The elves aren't attacking her still, and she has not been stabbed by the spikes either. Ooh, yeah, this is great. Yeah, in fact, would you look up here? They're running away already. Good riddance. You ain't getting in here, you dainty bastards. Yeah, that'll about do it. Phenomenal. Oh, but looks like poor Ratcuss down here did suffer an injury. Oh yeah, big time. Her middle spine is broken, her right hip is mangled, broken shoulder, her limbs are all cut open, her liver is fractured, her guts is fractured, her pancreas is mangled. Oh boy. I imagine a retreating elf stepped on that pressure plate which triggered some spikes as she was passing over. Well, hang in there, Ratcuss. You may have lost all hope in this world, but we have not yet lost hope in you. Of course, I realize all the love in the world does not unfracture your guts, but it's the best we could do, so take it or leave it, I suppose. Alright, now that that's over, I'm going to let a little bit of time go by so we can get things cleaned up, get a few things in order, and then we will head out on a raid once again. I will be right back. Welcome back. Now then, we're down here in the meeting hall. Some of the dwarves are just cooling off. A few things have happened, nothing too amazing really, except that if you look up this way here, you can see that our mist generator is once again working. Pretty cool, right? The dwarves really appreciate that. There was a little bit of an accident, but nothing too major. All this water's drying up as we speak. Yeah, you know what? I decided to not fill up our pit with water. That's what we were originally going to do, remember? Yeah, we're not going to do that. And instead, I just made this little inelegant contraption over this way that just kind of funnels water from this pump stack over here through this little canal and down through the ceiling. Easy enough, right? It gets the job done. Another little thing is that our Sally port, that's what we're calling it, up this way here is good to go. There is a gate so it can be nicely secured, as well as a couple of doors just in case. Yeah, 100% all set there. And then back down here to the meeting hall, you probably noticed this corpse. Well, interesting thing with that. It was one of the discs of gashing, but Bemble, the leader of the Boarbloods, was throwing a tantrum. Yet again. You may remember that he was doing that last year as well. Well, this time he went and actually killed a dwarf, which freaked everyone out royally. Kinda terrible, really. Anyways, the dwarves got pretty upset with the guy, and now he's languishing down here in our asylum, as well as a few other dwarves. It seemed like as soon as he killed that disc, all the dwarves in the room started panicking, and a few of them just spontaneously started throwing tantrums themselves. That is terrible. Absolutely horrible. Can't have it. And so these guys have all been stuffed down here, in our asylum, which is quickly filling up. A little unnerving, but hopefully they recover. I guess we'll see. We also have a new Lord Protector, leader of the Boarbloods, and that dwarf is Id of course. Yes, as well as the position, he has also donned Bemble's armor, but has declined to take the axe Usprausnem. He is way more skilled at using the spear, and Usprausnem is going back down here with Moses. My first plan was to give it to Atir, but then I realized that she probably didn't want to wield the thing. No, she's okay with her plain old mace. Anyways, let's get back to raiding. It's already summer and I'd hate to let a season go by without launching another attack, and so let's have a look here. Well, seeing as how that last siege was comprised of all elves, how about we head up to the north here into former elven territory and see if we can't destroy a goblin forest retreat, like this one here, Deer Owner, a forest retreat controlled by the torment of witches. Yeah, that seems like a pretty good idea, I'd say. Let's do it. We will raid this site, and will once again attempt to raise the place, leaving all options on the table. Livestock, loot, all that junk. And of course, once more, we will assign all of the squads. 110 dwarves. Yes, all of our lost dwarves have been replaced. And also, before we send them out, I would like to mention that they are all equipped now. All of the dwarves have equipment. Some of it might not be the best equipment, and some of them still do not have shields, but they all have metal armor and weapons now. We just ended up using a lot of the stuff that those elves are equipped with. Better than nothing, right? We are still hard at work making proper armor though. Anywho. Alright dwarves, you have your orders. Head out, lay waste to that goblin forest retreat, and don't come back until it is absolutely destroyed. I wish you the best, warriors, although you do have my total confidence. And now we'll just give them a moment. Shouldn't take too long. I really wish someone would take care of this corpse down here. I don't know why they haven't. Oh, and this is interesting up here. It looks like one of our broken dwarves, who has lost the ability to stand up without crutches, is carrying the skeleton of Phelona fimariata the sauropod through our halls. Don't really know how they're managing that, but, well, kudos to you. Getting the job done. Very impressive. And there we go. The Helmed Autumns and others have returned. Fantastic. Let's have a look at that report. Alright, they head up to the north, and the attack begins. It looks like Saxel's tactical planning was superior to the elf Estwer's side hates, but the defenders had a strong positional advantage, although that doesn't seem to have helped them at all. Because we went in, killed a couple elves, including Estwer, their leader, destroyed the place, and then left. Fantastic. Oh, and we do have a spoils report too, let's have a look. Looks like we have a wide selection of garbage once more. Interesting. Well, I'll take it. Sure, why not? And here they come from the west. Wonderful work, dwarves. Yeah, you get that stuff put away and we'll head out right away. We're on a roll here and we have to keep going. Alright, now time is just cranking forward here in Stetargusgash, and we actually just received a new migrant wave, which brings us up to 166 dwarves. Fantastic, right? But let's hold up a second, because there's something fishy about this new dwarf here. His name is Stukos Igatheshtan, and his profession is Lord Tactician. Now, you may remember a while back we had assigned one of the Warbloods to the position of Lord Tactician, and that dwarf was Lore, the one who killed that chicken forgotten beast by lopping its head off. Well, I hadn't mentioned it because I thought it was a bug or something, but that dwarf went missing for a while. When I had gone to the military screen here, it said he was traveling, and I could not figure out why. Plus, he was nowhere to be seen on the map whatsoever. I don't know why the hell that would be. He just left one day? Took off somewhere? Doesn't make much sense. But he came back under a new name, trying to pretend like he's not Lore anymore. In fact, if we have a look at his kills, it says he in fact did kill that chicken. So yeah, this is definitely the same guy. But I don't know why the hell he left, and how silly is it that he came back and is now pretending to be just a normal ordinary dwarf in a fortress full of vampires. We know who you are, dude. Big dummy. Well, I'll tell you what, you've lost your position of Lord Tactician, and now you're just gonna be a normal old reserve dwarf. Get to work, you dummy. Anywho, dwarves, what do you say? Are you ready to go out once more? I hope so. It should be noted too that the skills of the dwarves are rising. Not very quickly, but they are improving, which is nice. Here we are. Another goblin forest retreat farther to the north. This one is known as Teal Speech, and there are about 20 goblins here. And probably some trolls too, I would imagine. Yeah, this looks like a good place. Let's give it a try, dwarves. Raid site, raise the place. All dwarves prepare yourselves. And I'd say that looks good. Head out whenever you're ready, dwarves. And do remember to not come back until that goblin forest retreat is rendered into a smoking crater. Good luck, dwarves. And we'll once again give him a moment to return. Shouldn't take too long, hopefully. I can see that still nobody has taken care of this corpse. Don't know why that would be, but it's a little disconcerting. Could someone please take care of that? It'd be excellent. I'd really appreciate it. But you have your prerogative, I suppose. Oh, would you look here? The Helmed Autumns have returned. Fantastic. Let's have a look. Mission report, raise Teal Speech. Alright, they head up, entered Teal Speech, and it looks like the dwarves were outmatched. Not fantastic. Oh, when we did lose a dwarf right there. Killed an elf, and then there was a whole bunch of combat. Oh, geez, looks like Saxel's finger was smashed. Another dwarf was injured. A couple elves died. The combat continues. Whole lot of combat here. Oof, yeah. Big time. Jeez, still going. Looks like one of our dwarves' legs was smashed. We lost another dwarf, Sarvesh, and another. This is a violent battle right here. Just hoping those dwarves aren't anybody I'm very attached to. And another dwarf down, and another. Oh, and then it looks like the battle took a turn, and Saxel totally outwitted the elves. That's what I like to see. Okay, and then they start to fall. Fantastic. Yeah, you know, I've never seen a battle turn like that before, but hell, I guess I wouldn't mind seeing more of it. Alright, and then when the combat concluded, the forces of the Keeper of Bees searched Teal Speech, took a whole bunch of books and other treasure. Oh, and livestock too, very cool. Then they rampaged throughout Teal Speech, forcing the remaining enemies to flee, and then we destroyed Teal Speech. Amazing, I just wish we didn't lose so many dwarves. Damn shame right there. Now before we check on who we lost, let's take a look at our spoils. Oh wow, a whole bunch of trash. And 2 beak dogs. Not a total loss, I guess. Anyways, welcome back, dwarves coming in from the south, carrying their spoils. A great success. Well, actually, interestingly enough, Lore, or Stukos, was the name he had taken, our former Lord Tactician. Well, I had thrown him into a squad just before I sent him out, and I'm pretty sure he's dead now. Oops. Well, so be it, I suppose. I kinda was suspicious about that guy anyways. But I guess there's no worries now. And other than him, we didn't lose any more notable dwarves. Not to say that those dwarves who died aren't heroes, but it's just nobody that we knew very closely, you know? Alright dwarves, we'll give you a few minutes here to get your stuff in order, get all the spoils sorted out, pick up any equipment that you may be missing, and I suppose I should also refill our military. We lost 7 dwarves in that attack, which is a bit worrying. There were only, 20 elves there? And we attacked them with 110 dwarves. Really, that's kinda spooky to me. Might have to be a bit more careful in the future. Well, this is odd. If we have a look up here to the temple level, we can see Atir. And she has some sort of a problem. I'm not too sure what's going on exactly. It almost looks like she was being a bit indecisive with this nice bound codex. She seemingly kept picking the thing up and then dropping it for some odd reason. And she's not doing it anymore, but she kept running into the room with the book, screaming, "I must withdraw," and then running out of the room. And yeah, that is definitely a bit strange. Almost like she was making an effort to read the book, but then decided to not. And maybe it freaked her out a bit. Could well be. And well, if we have a look at the nice bound codex itself, then we can see it is in fact a nice bound codex which is adorned with hanging rings of well-crafted slate. And as for the contents, well, the written portion consists of a 146-page manual entitled The Individual When It Counts, authored by Ratha Pink Natures, and it concerns the meaning of individual happiness, which is a little shocking to me. Could it be that Atir is trying to get herself a little bit of help? I mean, she seems relatively content, but clearly her life is not going exactly how she had imagined it. And then there's the fact that she keeps dropping the book and panicking. Is she afraid to be happy? Well, at least for now she seems relatively content. Hang in there, Atir. Things will get better for the dwarves. We all can see it. Ooh, and I didn't see this part here. Yeah, she was screaming that she must withdraw for a while, continually dropping the book, but then she spotted a wild Kia nearby that she grabbed by the tongue and then kicked it in its body. And then she bit it and bruised its liver. Oh, and then bit it again too, and shook it around until its leg came off. There's that fire we need, Atir. Kindle it, let it burn. We need it. Alright, now then, back to the fortress. We have been extremely busy lately. Besides the raiding, I mean. We've been getting a bit of work done here on the pump stack, and that is still working its way along. And then we've also been doing some serious work up here on the Tower of Memories. All the towers are now multiple Z levels tall, including this huge one over here. And yeah, it's getting there. Some of these smaller towers have almost reached the top. Just have to put some roofs on them, but then they'll be good to go. And then there's our windmill tower, which has hit a bit of a snag. Kinda hard to explain, really, but I intended to have all the axles underneath the windmills, kinda like this right here, and then axles again, and then more windmills, and then more axles, and then more windmills. But it doesn't look like I could build axles on top of windmills like that. Kinda screws up the whole deal. So yeah, we have to rethink that. Not a biggie though, because the pump stack still has a ways to go. Also, another exciting thing that we're doing is training. Just training. I got a bit spooked about that last raid there because we did lose 7 dwarves, which doesn't seem that high, but you know, it's a chunk. It's a chunk. And to lose that many against 20 elves, well, that's a bit unacceptable. And so we're just trying to get some training done for now before we head out again. And if you have a look here, you can see that we have 13 axe dwarves, 9 swords dwarves, 13 mace dwarves, 41 hammer dwarves, 1 hammer lord, 5 spear dwarves, 1 spear master, 3 marks dwarves, who aren't actually equipped with crossbows. And then we also have 16 wrestlers and 18 recruits. Very exciting, our military is shaping right up. And before long, I'm hoping that these dwarves will be prepared to rip through the biggest goblin pits out there. But for now, Nazusheb, we train. Look at here. The torment of witches has returned once more. Bunch of rat bastards. I don't think they've attempted to siege us in the past couple years, but since we've been raiding them, it seems to have stirred them up a bit. Couldn't blame them, I suppose. It's like they're trying to stop us before the storm rolls over their entire civilization. Good luck with that. Now, just having an initial look here, and there seems to be a bunch of humans, dwarves, and goblins here. And I'm gonna tell you what, we're already hitting the end of the episode, and I don't want to cram this siege into the last minute or two. And so I'm just gonna leave things off on a bit of a cliffhanger. But that's okay. Wouldn't want to rush it. Anyways, wrapping things up here. A great storm has begun this year, Nazusheb. Our armies have rolled through 3 goblin settlements and have crushed them totally. Wave Raisers, Deer Owner, and Teal Speech are no more. And after we deal with this pitiful siege, our attacks will continue, and hopefully over time we'll get stronger still. Our power grows. Nazusheb, the future begins today. Hey, how the hell you doing? We're here at the end of the episode once again to see some more fan artwork, and so let's get straight to it. The first piece of the day is an untitled work featuring Attir, our beloved Baroness, and it is done by Bad Lemons XI, which is actually how it's pronounced, XI. Anywho, isn't this thing great? We can see right here in the middle Attir during a meditative trance. Remember a while back she started praying to Ifin for like an entire year? Well, I have to imagine that this is representing that. Attir is floating here, and on one side of this disc, we can see what I believe to be Ifin, goddess of nature. Very green, natural, peaceful even. But then over here on the left, we can see the dark side. And in the back we have a wild boar head dripping with blood, and that also appears to have some sort of branching tentacles coming off of it. Nasty, right? Also, a couple other things to note here. If you take a look, you can see that Attir is wearing her iron crown. The one that she chooses not to wear because she does not like rulers. And if you have a look over here, you can see that she does have a hand, but it is glowing red, which I think has to be representative of something. The grip of evil, perhaps? Yes, this whole thing is very nice, makes you think, and I love that. Fantastic work, Bad Lemons XI. Really knocked it out of the park. Moving on, our next piece of the day is a 3D render of Onelazu, the crossbow, and this is done by Urist Uleb Tatlash. Isn't that cool? And extremely faithful to my drawing as well, which is always remarkable to see. It's just weird to see one of my scribbles beautifully 3D rendered like this. Mind-blowing. You can see the antlers up here with that nice texture on them, and then the copper of the actual body of the crossbow, which has a bit of that greenish oxidation to it. Fantastic thinking too. Oh, and you can even see underneath there is now a trigger. Something I did not include in my drawing, as pointed out by a few commenters. But you see, what you don't get is that the trigger is actually up underneath. It's an ancient design, really quite complicated. I suppose you'd have to be from the Eternal Realms to understand. Anyways, fantastic work regardless, and thank you for fixing my drawing. Thank you very much, both of you, and also to all of you out there watching at home. I truly appreciate you joining me today, and I certainly hope you'll join me next time, here in Stetargusgash, Honeystoker. And until then, you bearded bastards,